It's a big week in South Australia. It's a big episode of the Phantoms Lair podcast. Welcome back to the show. This is the Phantom speaking. We've got a gather round exclusive. 5 Names is here again. Simeon Thomas-Wilson, welcome back.
Thank you, Phantoms. Good to see you finally got the intro right there.
A big exclusive. Now, we have the biggest exclusive in SA footy this week. We have got an exclusive, did I say that enough times? Interview with the man in SA footy who was robbed, absolutely robbed on the weekend, denied a chance to win the game. I could only be talking about one man, 5 names.
Yeah, go on.
It's not Izak Rankine. It's Haydn, the Chief Dos Kenny, absolutely robbed. He's been calling himself Izak Rankine. He said he was robbed in SuperCoach. He is bottom of the pod again. But he said he was unluckier than Izak on the weekend.
Robbed. Right in front of me. Right in front of me.
What happened?
Absolutely robbed on the weekend. Was once again, Sunday is my Supercoach day. Flying home to take the lead. Would have been top of the pod again this weekend. Bloody Luke Jackson does a ham bone. Was on track for about a 300, I reckon, without the captaincy. And, ended up ruining my weekend yet again, Fance. But yeah, robbed. Call me Izak. It's my new nickname.
What about when he came off and then they said, oh yeah, he's going to come back on. He's going to go.
The coverage was like, yeah, no, he's all right. He's coming back on. And then moments later, he's heading to the bench. But he kept his Guernsey on, didn't even change out of it. I was like, oh, he might come back on, and then no.
And then once again, Murphy Reid, our boy.
Our man.
No,
the Murphy Reid corner over here.
That was hard to watch.
Bottom of the pod by 9 points as well. That's what makes it even funnier.
Absolute robbery.
But again, he's going the old angle. If my team scored more points, I wouldn't have been bottom of the pod. Well, just need to score more points.
Whatever.
Chief.
Yep, so we'll talk about what I have to do this week.
Oh, we'll be talking about it. But no, big show, big week
Huge.
in SA. Gather round, multiple Phantoms of Lair podcasts this week.
Yes, the
It's
Lair
all
takeover.
happening here, yep. But a big show first, a big main edition, a lot to talk about. Players on the bubble again. Interesting trading week, I think. Some interesting targets. Do you hold? 5 Names got a big call about the trading market coming up. Let's quickly make it official. Top of the pod, 5 Names. How'd you go?
Yep, second week in a row.
Oh, you're flying. You're up and about too.
I am up and about. I was even more up and about. Just need to get up my score up here. I scored 2,024 points. I thought I was on track for an absolute monster when I was at about 22-2 to Richie Beto.
Yep.
I was on that, and then all the scores dropped off after the final game of the round. I thought I was absolutely on for something, but I've gone up 11,000 spots.
Nice.
Yes,
That's big.
So,
That's big.
Yeah,
I was
a huge score.
I was 10 points behind you, 2014. I moved up to 6,000 overall as well. So pretty happy with that. Halved my ranking on the weekend. But as we said, the main part of the show, 9 points further back, the Chief.
Yes, 2005 for me, unfortunately. So, look, I'm actually pretty happy with that. I think the Lair had a good
weekend for the Lair.
Yeah, good weekend for the Lair. Happy with that. As I said, I think I can rest my laurels at the fact that I picked the right captain. Just unfortunate with the injury there. And the rest of my team, we'll talk about some heroes and villains soon, but made some mistakes that led to the lower score there. But 8,000 rank overall. So, moving on up.
Now, officially, gather round takeover of the Lair, but unofficially wasn't a great week for the crew over in Melbourne. Breaking even with our pattern. We know they're going well. Now, if you are watching on Code Sports YouTube channel, if you're not, get on there and watch it now. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. You will see
He's back.
the horny one.
He's back where he belongs.
Our man is back.
We couldn't look at him last week.
Yep.
We had the photo on the wall. We couldn't look at him.
Hang on. I was happy to have him on the wall.
But we all kept him, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. Look, we just had to let him know. Take him off. Just let him know. Take him off the wall for 1 week. He's right back up there. That's all it needed.
Do you know I spoke to him in the rooms after the game yesterday, and he knew.
Yep. 17,000 Supercoaches traded him out, including 2 on breaking even with our patent. So they're going to have a week off.
How many out there you reckon traded out Horne-Francis and Harry Sheasel?
At the same time. So we know 17,000, more than 17,000 coaches traded out Jason Horne-Francis and more than 5,000 traded out Harry Sheasel. So that is a rough week, but there would be some. Would have to be some that did both.
If there was a delete team button, you'd look at that if you did that.
You'd keep persisting. You'd keep persisting, of course. Of course you'd keep persisting there. 5 names. But yes, it would be tempting.
It's a good segue into heroes and villains. I'm going to start my hero of the week. Unfortunately, not Dane Zorko. My hero of the week. My man, not Murphy Reid. 5 names. 5 names should be applauded by the Supercoach community. Bailed up Alistair Clarkson last week at Adelaide Oval. What the hell are you doing with Harry Sheasel? You're ruining him. Clarko goes, well, we put him to halfback. We've got to get him in the game. And 5 names said, well, we better do it next week. And he did. At halfback. Dossie doesn't have him.
So you're to thank for the. Well, you're to
maybe
thank for my down.
Maybe I don't like. I wouldn't say that's exactly how it played out post game, but we did ask some questions about Sheasel and what was going on with the big fella.
Back in his ball-winning role across halfback,
Yes.
Kane Corns wasn't very happy with that, but we don't care about that. We love him back there for Supercoach. Not going to last the whole year. They need him for the centre as well, but good to see him back with a bang in Supercoach. 140 plus points for him.
Huge. Your hero, Sim?
Well, I can't do it myself now. That's a bit annoying. I'm going to do the horny one.
The horny one.
Oh, that was. I mean, there's always something about when you actually watch it in person. Like, a bit more. He was sensational. He was so good. Like, Paul were bad. He was so good.
Yeah.
Like, what he was doing. Like, he was just back to what he needed. He was just back to what we know he can do. Like, yeah, the first goal was an easy one, but some of the marks he was taking, like the attack on the footy was there. Like, was it 150 in the end?
Yep.
Oh.
It was 153.
In game 69 for the horny one.
Let's get on to my hero.
No, cut that out.
No, do that. Please do that.
Disgraceful stuff. Andrew Brayshaw, 135. Backing him in. Started a little bit slower than I would have liked to. Still was tunning up early days.
I have him as well.
Yeah,
in that.
it's nice to see us get rewarded with those big scores that we hoped to do. And I
was
think the
worried.
arrow's up for Brayshaw now as well.
Richmond this week at the Brosser.
Oh, jeez.
That might be a captain right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Villains, though. Time to talk about those players that let us down. Fans.
In my villain this week, we mentioned it at the top of the show, the second most unluckiest person in SA football, Izak Rankine. My villain is that umpire. Not because of the result, but it's the umpires in general in that game. Izak Rankine, 5 free kicks against, was robbed of the chance to, doesn't matter about whether he's going to win the game for the Crows, but they'll kick the match-winning goal. We know that would have been big Supercoach numbers for him. So I'll jump on the umpire, the villain.
Right in front of me.
That's almost nuff alarm as well.
Oh, get the nuffy. Get the
Mr.
nuffy
Crows.
thing. Where is it? Come on, get the nuffy. Yeah. Oh, you deserve that, Phantom. All right, my villain, Joel Frazier.
Ooh.
It's tough.
Yeah,
Bear Torres.
you can have him, Bear. I wasn't going to acknowledge Bear when he came back to South Australia after abandoning us. But you know what? You can have Frazier. You can have him. He's been bevoed.
Now, just quickly, Bear was in the pan last week. Took it pretty well. Might actually come on the show later in the week, potentially. In Adelaide.
Yeah.
Do we want him back?
Don't know.
I don't know. He's a Frazier lover. We don't want that.
My villain for the week, Matty Rowell, let me down yet again, unfortunately. So brought him in this week, traded out one Sammy Lawler.
Oh.
You're not going well with rookies, are you?
112, Sammy Lawler scored. Brought in Matty Rowell, a bona fide premium, 74. So
Can tell you a little bit behind that story, I reckon.
okay.
Oh.
Jordan Dawson, that stoppages was going around. Like that was the plan for the Crows.
Okay.
So is that a 1 week thing or is that something that
Tagging Rowell.
pretty much was stoppages? Like literally it was stoppages. That was Dawson's job.
Okay. Interesting. To be honest, going forward, I'm okay with him. But for this match, 54 points he had at halftime. I remember, I think I even messaged you guys pretty smug. I was like, 54 at halftime. He had 4 frees against at half. for people that brought in Matty Rao. Was looking fantastic. 20 points in the second half. I think it was a weird game, so stick to the faith for now. But geez, I mean, he did this last year as well, had a massive run to start with, and then tailed off towards the end of the season. I just hope that that's not going to happen again.
You could have had Jet Salido.
Anyway, that's the heroes and villains for the week. Moving on, fans, to the topics for this week.
Plenty
to go. Gather round. Obviously, every team here in Adelaide, we're looking forward to it. We're going to be roaming the streets,
we
out
are.
and
Come
about.
see us.
Come say hello if you see
Say
us.
hello.
out
If
and
you see a
about.
Supercoach shirt, it'll be us.
It will be. As we said, it's a Lair takeover week this week. Lots coming your way, but the podcast will be on slightly different days. We'll be having one on a Tuesday this week and a Friday for the teams. So it's going to be a little bit of a different podcast schedule due to the special week coming up, and no breaking even with our Peyton this week. It will be, as we said, the Lair takeover.
Is that because Horne-Francis scored so well that he's
I
just
think
like...
so. Al can't
Unofficially.
a little bit, yeah. The other thing, we've had a little bit of an update on the ratings and reviews front there. So we mentioned last week we were looking for, if we got 500 ratings, 5 names was going to go the peroxide. So if you, as I said, go to Google, hit Simeon Thomas-Wilson, the man on this show, and you get a great picture of what he looks like with peroxide hair. It has happened in the past. We're looking to revive it. And if we get 500 ratings, that will be happening. We're up to 278 now. Spotify and Apple. So we are beyond halfway. We're heading very quickly towards the 500 mark. And we even had a review. And I'll read this one out from MJ Steele. It included a little bit of a plug to our sting that we have on the show as well for our question segment. And I'll try and find it here. I always struggle finding this one. It's a shout out to this.
Is that what you're asking me? That you're asking?
That was the title. And it says, love listening to these guys, have really cool dynamics, some great advice for Supercoach, and a little bit of trash. Soundboard is well used. Oh, so shout out to
He's doing one thing right for the year.
Writing this review to ensure 5 names has peroxide hair the next time he asks Ken a question.
Yeah, but I thought when I had the peroxide hair, I was asking Ken questions. I did that for like a year.
We want to bring it back.
Yeah, but is this true? Last week, your man Ken Hinckley just bailed you up on the sideline in Albion Oval.
Yeah, we had a good chat.
Yep. You guys all right?
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Ooh. I don't know why. It's fine.
Into Supercoach, guys. The Lair lead, round 5. Back to best 22.
Yep.
That is the big thing this week. So we've had that nice little best 18 blanket for the last few weeks, heading back into best 22. No more hiding, fans. Where do we go from here? So a lot of us probably used a couple of boosts over the last few weeks. Sim, you're jumping
I'd like to just jump in here. And I'd like to declare that it is the opening of upgrade season.
Cut the ribbon.
Yep.
Wow. So you're ready to upgrade
already?
already?
Ready to upgrade.
Okay.
Money bags.
Yeah, that's.
I reckon this is when people are going to start up. Yeah.
Can't cut your rookies just yet.
Cut. Some rookies in cut.
Yeah, I don't mind the aggressive approach. Spoke about last week. It was all about strengthening that bottom end of your best 22. That's why your Ryan Marrick, Bailey Humphrey didn't perform as well on the weekend. Were important, not so much sideways swapping your premiums because you weren't improving the bottom end. And that's going to show up in the next few weeks now when best 22 scoring is back. Sheasel traders, Horne-Francis traders were hurt then. They might then be hurt again now because they haven't improved that bottom end. They're a week behind improving that bottom end. So if that means upgrading, then that's improving your team. I'm all for improving your team. I'm all for culling early if needs to be. That's very early 5 names.
Very early.
What are you thinking? Take us through your thought or trade that
it's
would
more
kickstart for you.
It's more like I reckon you're mid-price. It's found mid-price, those guys. So, for example, I'm looking at upgrading Phry to Lockie Whitfield.
Don't mind that.
Okay.
So I think for obviously you need to nail all your rookies, make sure that's you've got all the dead weight off your bench, all that kind of stuff. You fix up that thing, but this is where you can start upgrading now.
I've thought about that too. SDK, Sam De Koning, Lockie Whitfield 2 potentially.
Oh, all right.
But again,
yeah, I'm not in that situation. I guess everyone's in their own situations. But yeah, I mean, if you're in that situation, absolutely, upgrade season can start now. What else should we be doing? Like, what are the pillars from now first of all, do we need to trade? And we're back into best 22. Obviously, if you've got some major holes, you need to still keep trading. But where do we go with boosts? Are we looking to conserve boosts if you've used them? What is the strategy? For me, boosts are only used when you absolutely kind of need a must-have rookie or something and you want to upgrade on the other end and you've got to sort of bring those in. I don't necessarily think that's the case. We're going to go through some rookies in a little bit. But where do you guys sit on, obviously, Sims upgrading? What about our dead, if you've got some dead rookies on the bench, say a Nevitt who you might be coming back. We don't know what at the moment. It's Monday. We don't know what's happening there. Mm-hmm. Should we be still clearing up those get those benches right? Is that important to still use trades there, or can you be a bit more patient now, hope that these guys come back like a Camperelli or something just miraculously comes back? Do we need to sort that out, fans?
All depends on the options we've got. Last week we had some standout ones. We'll talk about a few in the midfield potentially for this week. Don't force it to get rid of those guys on the bench. Force it to get someone else in, I think, as well. So need the balance. And I'm all for using all your boosts in the first half of the season. When you start upgrading, if you can speed that process up, sort of 2 or 3 or 4 week period and using all your boosts and exhausting all your boosts, and you come out towards the buys closer to complete, then I'm all for that. Using a 3rd or 4th boost this week might be a bit much, I think. So it might all depend on what you've done. I've only used 1 boost so far. Probably won't use 1 this week, but I'd be happy to use 2 or 3 in a row once I do start upgrading in a couple of weeks.
I've used 2, and so I'm doing a hold tight on the boost for a little while, but I think...
Yeah, I think that's a good rule. I've used 2 as well, and that's what I'm sort of thinking. I'll go back to a sort of 2 until those really clear. We'll have some more rookies that come out and you're like, wow, we need these players in our teams. Or we'll have some more mid-price, some sort of role change or something, even mid-season that we see that we absolutely need. And I feel like I really want to maybe be a little bit more conservative this year with that. So it's good to know.
I don't think last week we came in here and there were some obvious picks. Yeah. Riley Bice, Ryan Marrick, Christian Reyes, Bailey Humphrey were all, for obvious reasons, close picks to the must-have trade bracket. This week's a little bit harder.
Yep.
So you don't need to force anything. Again, if you can improve your team like that, like 5 names, then do it.
Yeah.
Don't need to force things because there's nothing wrong with not trading either, because these rookie cash cows only just starting to make money. Nathan O'Driscoll could be the one to watch. Rolled an ankle. Justin Longmuir commented again about it today. The Dockers will wait and see how he pulls up. He's at 308K.
Yeah.
You could use that cash if he's going to miss a couple.
Yeah, we could. The other thing is important to note as well for next week, if you are sort of holding those trades, DPPs will come next week. So they are coming after this round. So once this round finishes and the lockout lifts, after gather round, we will be getting new dual position players. If you want to know what DPP stands for, dual position players. So a player that has played enough time in a new position will be awarded a new status on their positional status. But you can't have 3. So just for those people wondering, you cannot have 3. It's just a rule in SuperCoach.
No TPP.
You can't get triple position player. You can only get dual position player. So keep an eye out for those players. But there are a few options like that who already have, for like a Ryan Marrick, for instance. He's a forward mid already. He's playing purely defense, but he's not going to be a forward mid defender. He can only be a forward mid. So he's ruled out from DPP. But bunch of players that we'll talk about very shortly.
Ooh. Hit us. Go on.
Big names.
All right. I'll get to the big players. So we are on DPP Watch.
No sting?
No sting.
Letting down the fans?
These are the locks, guys. So players that we think are absolutely locked in. You can check out the full article for this in the description of this episode.
Not who we think either. What the numbers tell us.
The numbers
official
all the numbers.
Yes, it has to be 35% or more in a position.
Yep. So these guys are locked in. Levi Ashcroft will be adding forward status after this round. He's played 65% forward. So
nice.
Especially with Elijah Hewitt disappearing.
Sam Lawler.
Oh. Dossie,
Add
you've still got him?
forward.
Oh, no.
I traded him. Yeah, so 71%. Like, he's going to be a great rookie for you. For anyone that held now, I know a bunch traded, but heaps held still. He's going to be awesome. Coming off 112, he's playing a lot forward and still gets enough mid-time to do a bit of damage. Rory Laird's a defender, 99% defender. He's clearly in there. Subbed off on the weekend, though.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, though, because he was scoring quite well. His price is going to go down massively.
Yep.
Averaging 105 over the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, so
at least come into the conversation. Not all Australian Rory Laird in defence like he was a few years back, and the Supercoach must have in defence. But yeah, definitely the combo.
Sam de Koning, 75% ruck. That was always going to happen. Unfortunately, I traded already as well. So he's going to be a defender ruck, which will be pretty handy, I think, for, some people. Luke Jackson, owners, R2. Unfortunately, I also anyway. Connor Stone is going to add defence, so he'll be a forward defender / VFL. So we might have one triple position player available this year. Joel Frazier, your boy, I don't know if this is going to be necessarily lock, but apparently 46% midfield. So
it's been playing a lot of midfield.
That's going to happen as well. Now the guys that are probably the more interesting names for everyone here, and these are still in the balance, not locks, but in the balance.
Depending on what happens,
you'll have to keep
5.
an eye out this week to see if these guys are going to get it. Massive one here, Christian Petrarca.
Ooh.
So he is always on the radar for super coaches. Always nearly gets there, never quite gets there.
42% at the moment forward.
Yep.
The cutoff is 35.
What's he averaging?
So he would need to spend significantly less time forward.
I mean, his points.
He would need to send. He's averaging 87 points per game. Hasn't cracked a ton this season.
Melbourne is
building into the year.
So dream scenario would be he gets forward status, then goes back pure mid.
Yeah.
As he builds into the year, given what happened last year.
Yeah.
Cheap too. Already under 500k.
He is one to really watch closely this weekend. You'd think that he's well on his way to getting it. Chad Warner.
Oh.
36.8% forward.
Come on, Cotsy.
So this is huge this weekend. So subbed off due to illness.
Yes, he was
on the weekend. This will be massive this weekend. So if he stays enough forward, he will be a forward mid as well.
Averaging 105 after 3 games before being subbed out. Just a quick poll here. Who averages more? They both get it next week. Who would you target first?
Out of Warner. Petrarca. Warner.
Petrarca.
I think Warner for me too.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Petrarca for me. Just the history of his scorings.
The
Melbourne team's terrible, but
and his body language isn't looking great.
I thought that was good. That was passionate.
He's just frustrated.
It's not a footy show though. It's Supercoach. Nick Martin, defender. He could add either forward or mid. So he's at 55% forward. So he could be a defender forward. That would be
kind of interesting.
Incredibly interesting. Can still score playing as a forward / mid. So 44% mid, 55% forward. So he could get either of those. You'd think at the moment it would be defender forward. Jace Burgoyne.
Yep.
Did speak about this last week.
This was your pew last week. Had a poor game.
He did. They did put him. Yeah, they did put him. I actually did notice because they took out. They subbed off Logan Evans, who was having an absolute mare, and Burgoyne went back to the fence. So that was he dropped a mark that he probably should tag. But yeah, that was all on the preface. Should he get DPP? That could be something to look at.
So
13 disposals,
42%. So that's just still one to watch. More for draft leagues at the moment. Still can't trust him in Classic after that performance. And one that I'm looking forward to, boys. And I'll get the Nuff alarm ready for you guys because this is worthy of one. Harley Reid. 30% defender after the weekend. Played just entirely off half back, 25 disposals.
How many marks and how many tackles?
I think it was 1 mark, 0 tackles.
So he's playing defence and not defending.
Yeah, look.
72 Supercoach points.
Okay. 72. What was the max for West Coast that day?
Did you or did you not say, I am trading him in this week before the show?
I may have said that.
72, 5 games.
I don't know.
If you scale up, the top West Coast player didn't score 90. Ryan Marrick scored an 88 as the top player for West Coast. It was an absolute mauling.
Also, shout out to your video about Ryan Marrick.
Thank you. Good
Harley
social
Reid this
content
year,
there.
44, 59, 52 and 72. You're going to trade him in.
I'll have a look. Where my season's at, guys. All right, moving on from DPPs. Keep an eye out, though, this weekend. Those players are the ones to watch. There's more as well. Check the link in the description if you want the full breakdown of every player and the relevant players. We've got all the names there. So you can go check, even for your draft leagues, if you're interested in certain players that are looking at getting that dual position status. They're all in there. Check it out.
Codesports.com to do all the Supercoach on the app, Supercoach app, the news tab as well, if you are listening only to the show.
Stay or trade.
Our favourite segment.
We're doing this earlier in the show. We'll get to bubble players later, bubble boys later. Talking about stay or trade because, as you said, a lot of people keen on that upgrade season at the moment. Starting it a bit earlier, looking at some players that we might want to cull a little bit early after not putting up those premium numbers. And there's a fair few interesting names to talk about here. Let's get our little bit of quiz music going as well because this is stay or trade. I'll start with Fance on this one because I'm trying to get some harder ones for Fance this time. Joel Frazier. Are you staying or trading? Stay or trade?
Stay.
What?
At the moment.
Jesus.
Nathan O'Driscoll. So pending.
that's pending injury.
Let's say he's healthy.
Healthy, stay.
Finn Callahan.
Ooh.
So some of these names are based on the most traded out players at the moment in Supercoach.
Stay.
You're staying with Finn.
Really?
We'll come back to that later. We'll come back to a few of these relevant names later. Now, Mitch Nevitt, I also want to just have the caveat that he's healthy. Let's say he's healthy. Or let's say let's give it a healthy first, stay or trade.
Healthy first, stay.
1 week.
Trade.
So anything beyond a week, you're still trading. Okay. Because then he could have the sub risk as well. Connor Rozee.
Stay.
I'll get your opinion too.
Yes, stay.
That's a big one. All right. Finn O'Sullivan, the rookie, because he's coming back off an illness, but people still. I'm going to jump in for this one.
Oh,
stay.
Yep.
Stay for force. I just traded out Sam Lawler. These top picks, they eventually get their groove. We've seen enough of him, I think, to say he's going to have a good game. It's just a matter of when. So I feel
traded out Finn.
I know. I feel like if you held though. Like if you held last week, you might as well hold. Like look at these top talent. The top talent, they're going to perform.
That's
eventually.
the same with a Nevitt if he's fit or,
Yeah. Jaden Short, Fance. Is upgrade season include a guy that's, going in the 80s but not going the big tons?
Stay. I'll talk about this after, but some of these guys I've said stay about. Not long term. At the moment, I think improve that bottom end of your team. If you're upgrading now, make it almost a proper upgrade. I think you can keep a couple of those names. Jaden Short on the edge of that.
Matt, we talk about this guy every week because more and more coaches just are fed up with waiting. Matt Flynn, if you held this long, Matty Flynn, I want to talk about, though, before you make your answer, his waffle stats this weekend.
Ugh.
They were monumental.
I reckon you should still well in the waffle, mate.
I don't have them. Just check socials. I'm sure we'll do a card about this at some point. He went beast mode in the waffle.
Well, I still have him. I'm going to trade.
Okay. A couple more names here to talk about. I think these guys aren't worth speaking about. There's too many here. Elijah Hewitt, Vance.
Trade.
Jack Henderson.
Stay.
Paddy Cripps.
Stay.
Tom Lynch.
What's he priced at?
He'd still be, I think, he wouldn't be 200K yet, would he? No.
He went up 13K, break even with 39. Scored 37 on the weekend. Might lose money.
Trade.
Dan Houston, 2-match suspension.
Trade.
Matt Roberts, Vance.
Hold.
Last
Stay.
one to talk about there.
Stay.
Actually, you know what? Let's go through these next ones because they're the mid-price that people are sort of thinking about upgrade season as well. Riley Sanders.
He's playing a lot better recently, actually. I would say stay.
Hugo Garcia had a monster and then didn't. Still put up okay numbers, just didn't get enough of the pill. He had like 7 clearances from 12 disposals. I think.
Stay.
He was trying to run with Butters. He was just
Okay. Sam De Koning, just coming off a 90 plus.
I traded him last week to Sullivan, but I will say still trade. And can I just have a little bit on this one?
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to steal from what Phantom said. We're having a conversation about it. Yes, he played well, but Melbourne were absolutely terrible going forward. So he took a lot of. It was very easy for him in defence. Play the Crows. Either it's going to be a lot harder for him to defence. He's not going to be as good with the ball. And if he does go on the ruck, even though Rob got towed up by Wits, O'Brien's a very hard ruckman to score against.
Coming up in the pan as well. Haven't told you about this one, but a bit of something on Sam De Koning. Something happened down in Geelong, and now friend of the show as well. It's coming a bit late on Sam De Koning.
And finally, Luke Jackson. We've heard that the hammy's not that bad. It might be 1 or 2 weeks, but then you've got Sean Darcy, who's now played in the waffle, and seemingly Justin Longmuir said he wants Darcy and Hayden Young straight back in the team next week if he gets his way. So where do you sit with Luke Jackson? Is that an obvious trade?
If two's in the conversation, 2 weeks, trade. In the world of boosts and extra trades, trade.
It's time, fans. Rookies on the bubble. So talking about players that have played the 2 games coming into this week where they're going to get their first price rise. Fans, the players that we need to look at this week, obviously it gets a little bit thinner now that we've had a lot of teams play more than 3 games. It's coming down to the players that didn't get a sniff to start the season, coming off an injury, coming off, just getting a game finally. So who are we looking at now that's on the bubble? There's a few names still of interest here.
The lowest break even of the bubble boys. Clay Hall is an interesting one. 14 contested possessions his first game for the year, 11 contested possessions for his second game of the year. Was dropped in between. That is the worry. Negative 78 break even. Has a game suited to Supercoach the way he wins the footy. Can we trust him to stay in, given what happened 2 weeks ago?
Dossie's enough, he didn't tell us.
It's tough. I mean, the positive thing for people that are, looking at Harley Reid moving to defence is that it opens up a spot in the midfield. So that would be, what I'd look at in terms of if you've got hope for the job security. I mean, I personally think you just need to keep playing the kids in there. Like, what else are we going to be doing? But Hall came in, played 1, got dropped. So that's not a good sign for job security. I would probably not be going there personally. I think that, if you've already got dropped with 1 within 3 games, you don't know what's going to happen. So scoring looks good. Break even looks good. If we get a sense, if there's some positive messaging saying, Hall at least did something, I'd be comfortable going there. But we need something from the coach. We need something from Minnie to say, Clay Hall, he played well this week. Then I'd be happy to bring him in.
It all sounds a bit gross to me. That's a segue.
Yep.
Had that one coming.
He's coming up in some more names later on. He's only played the 1 game, but Tommy Gross looked pretty good on the weekend. As well.
I wish his name was Gross. I wish it was Gross.
Isaiah Dudley from over here in SA obviously popped up at Freo, the late SSP signing. Small forward, put up some pretty good numbers. The thing that makes him a serious option is 99k price tag. So we know there's going to be inconsistency in his scoring. They play the Tigers this week. He doesn't need to score that well at 99k to make a quick 100k and then potentially get to the 150k mark, which is what we want. Finishes at 250k. He doesn't need to be averaging a lot to get there. So 1 or 2 spike scores in the next 4 or 5 weeks. One could be this week in the Barossa against the Tigers. He's an option.
I like him.
Forward only.
Yeah, the tiny forwards are the new thing in the AFL. The Wizard, now Dudley. So, 168 centimetre pocket rocket forward. He's looked great though. For me, I think his job security is pretty solid.
Well, they've won their games with him, haven't they?
Yeah, and he's popped up, kicked a couple.
Very skillful and coming through a junior grades over here too. That's what stood out. Didn't get drafted. Went back, played some good footy in the sample against the big bodies too on the bigger stage in Centrals finals over the past couple of years as well. So, yeah, I like it. Don't expect big scores, but
as we said, Haydn Young to come back in, possibly play a bit of forward, but you think it's a completely different role. Like he's playing as a genuine small forward. So I don't know. Dockers fans out there, should we be worried? I don't think so. I think he's got some rock solid job security. Let us know if you think otherwise, though. There's some couple of other names to talk about. The only one on the bubble.
The only other one when we're talking about trade-ins this week, Toby Travalia from the Saints. Big talking point over pre-season. He was going to be the number one rookie defender, we thought, when the game first opened, when we first started the podcast late last year, but obviously didn't get a game first up, 172K. A little bit quieter on the weekend. A good first half, but just looks good. Again, passed the eye test. We know he's had good junior numbers. Runs all day like a Darcy Wilson did last year, 172K. He's the only one I'd have in that conversation on Bubble Boys for this week. But again, how do you make that trade work? 172K, you're not making any money.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
A lot of the other rookie defenders are now have scored well on the weekend or the week before had the bye. Yeah. So I'm not sure where the option is there.
It's tough. He's getting low time on ground. You'd imagine maybe a sub risk still, given when he started in all the trial matches he was playing as the sub. Good scoring potential eventually, but yeah, it's a tough one. If you missed all those other rookies though, I mean, the fact that if you don't have, say, like a Connor O'Sullivan, for instance, he's only like still 30K more or something to go him. And I'd be pretty happy to go there, I think, pay the extra dollars.
Let's talk those.
One more bubble boy. And I think this guy is actually worth a look. And even if you traded him out, Elijah Sardis has only played 2 games.
Yeah, don't mind that.
They've got Melbourne and then West Coast in the next 2. And we've heard that Jai Caldwell is going to be missing some time with hamstring injury. Keep an eye out for the injury report. We'll have the HBF injury report on the show on Tuesday this week to know the final update there. But if Caldwell's going to be missing time, and maybe Parrish, if Parrish is still out, that's probably one thing to watch. But Sardis was in the team already to start the season.
Can't kick.
That's fine. Broke his finger, played on, still had 25 touches. If he's straight back in the side, Melbourne and West Coast, you might get enough cash gen just in those 2 games, and then he might stay in the team, trickle along, get some more cash. So I'm potentially, if I've still got to fix up, or if you're still in the situation having to fix up a Nevitt, it's pretty much a sideways swap. And I think Sardis has potentially the best role out of all these guys to make you some cash.
Don't mind it. We know the thing about the kicking, but again, at the price might not matter.
The matchups does it for me too.
Yeah, the matchups are nice. I will say that.
Now, I think the conversation now turns to the players with low break-evens, the rookies that have gone up in price. Is it too late?
Yep.
Start with Riley Bice, up to 203K.
Get him in.
Huge on the weekend.
Get him in.
124 Supercoach points. Again, we said it last week and the week before when we're talking about him. Just scores aside against Freo before the bye, just passed the eye test, played an important part in Sydney winning that game. If you're watching on Saturday night, how did Riley Bice do this? What's he doing? If you watched 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
What he did. The surprise, as our friend Dan Batten said on the weekend, the surprise is that they didn't start him, Riley Bice.
Yeah.
So negative 98 break even.
You got him in. You still don't.
You don't have him get him in.
Yeah.
Not too late.
He's going to make a lot of cash.
And best 22 scoring now. Play him on your field.
Yeah.
Has he hurt Matty Roberts?
I think he has. Matty Roberts was a candidate for me to be my villain of the week.
Loser?
He can be my loser of the week. Your man.
What about
Rube?
Now, another one in the rookie bracket has gone up. Connor O'Sullivan, you mentioned him, 268K, negative 19 break even. Too late for him?
I think I brought him in last week.
Sorry, I said 30K up. That's nearly 100K from Travalia to him, so it's quite a bit of a difference.
I brought in O'Sullivan last week for De Kenny, and that was actually quite nice. I reckon you get the hour in. That's too much now.
So the difference this week, we don't know how much impact this had because he does seem to O'Sullivan just seems to get better every week regardless. But Jack Henry went down in this game and he's been scoring really well as a key defender for Geelong. So does he just pick up? Like, could he keep this up for a number of weeks and make us stack more cash? I guess, like, how much do we think is left on the bone here? How much meat's left on the bone on Connor O'Sullivan?
It's hard. He's not going to make, at that price, only takes one lower score for that cash generation to halt. Again, what he's shown, he can be an on-field option. Depends what you have. I'm not against it, but I've got Jackson Pryor, Vice, Trainer, Zach Reid. So I'm not moving on one of those guys just to get him in at that price.
Yeah, I guess the scenario would be, what scenario would you bring him in then? If you just didn't have all the cash generators, if you missed a couple, if you still had a Bo Allen, would you go that far up? I don't know.
I don't think you spend that much. If you spend 130K, what are you making then? Can you guarantee another 130K?
For instance, like a Fraser.
That you could do that. That's the way you can make cash. Yeah.
If you then can use the money elsewhere.
On the other end.
Yeah, to upgrade.
Yep.
Some other players' fans?
Luke Trainer. Another big score for him for rookie. -51 break even. That's good.
He's looking good. He's impressed.
201K. That's you can still jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of balls going to be in the Richmond back half.
A couple of other players here. Are you jumping on Moraes if you missed that one, or did you miss the boat there?
Yeah, obviously wasn't. It was good in the loss the week before against the Bombers. Wasn't great in a loss. Different kind of loss for Port on the weekend. Struggled a bit after a solid-ish start. What do you think? 5 names. You were there.
Yeah, he's still playing on the wing. It's hard. I think it's hard because he's playing against like Darcy Wilson.
Yeah,
Wilson's just running off him. Like they just had guys running off him. I think his job security is still pretty good.
Oh, I agree with that. But yeah, you wouldn't force him.
No, you wouldn't like move. Heaven and earth to get him.
Just looking at this Murphy Reid, -24.
Get him, man.
We did say last week he was my
Richmond this week.
He was my number 3 trade target last week at 200K. Get him in.
What's
258 now?
58. Oh, that's awkward. Jeez.
You get the next one at that point.
Yeah, I think so. But do you know what? Do you know what? It's nice. It's just nice owning him, Dossie.
Oh, yeah.
You feel good, especially last 2 Sundays. We've been sitting. Fan and I have been sitting back, feet up, watching Murphy Reid just absolutely tear it up.
Yeah. And I'll be at the Brossa on Sunday. Get to watch Murphy Reid live. Be a life highlight, I think.
So is it too late?
I think so. Unfortunately,
too late.
I think so. Yeah.
But is it too late for Ryan Marrick?
No.
Last week, as we said, top scored with 88. So it was an incredibly low scoring game for West Coast. 88. There's some footage out there I showed you before covering it. I don't know if you've seen it as well. Some of the kick-ins where he literally hops to the I
have seen this.
There's some footage out there if you can find it. He just walks up. He's not even on the corner of the square of this kick-in square. Just jumps out to his right just to get a little kick and get some score there. So
he knows. He
knows.
He knows. Imagine if you went Bailey Humphries over marriage and then you were watching the first bit of the Suns.
It didn't end up being too
bad.
Yeah.
But geez, he would have been in a dark place.
8 kick-ins, 8 all played on with all of them as well. He's heading straight to Supercoach Hall of Fame if he keeps his behaviour up. So 320K, I'd get him in. I called him Luke Ryan Marrick on the weekend because kick-ins and long,
filthy. It's
and long
filthy.
effective kicks.
And we love it.
And he also mentioned on a podcast as well to get him in.
Yeah.
In fantasy.
Wait, Ryan Marrick said get himself in.
Yeah.
So, and you can tell what he did there. He's probably got himself as captain. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
320K.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
You reckon we could get him on the show?
That would be a good guest.
Loves it.
That. West Coast need all the publicity they can get.
Come on, mate. You won't come on if you say that.
Well, he'll be here this weekend. I'll have to track him down.
Right. Yeah.
320K, get on, I think.
All right, Fants, top targets. Jump in, your top 5. You've been nailing these. So
well, yeah, you look at last week.
Things.
Look at last week. So, again, this is about in general. We obviously number 1 might not appeal to you because you might have him but Riley Bice has to be number one again. Like we said, if you don't have him, get him in negative 98 break even, 202K, not just because of that cash, but what he can do on field the best 22 weeks. Number 2, Ryan Marrick, we just mentioned, negative 19 break even again. Going to make cash, but also going to score well on field for the next few weeks when best 22 scoring is back, and he's going to outscore some of those rookies, and that could be the difference between a good score and a bad score. So Ryan Marrick, number 2. Number 3, if you are upgrading, say Nathan O'Driscoll is out for less than 200K, get Will Ashcroft. Number 3, break even at 36. He's going to skyrocket in price soon. So still get him at 500K. That's good buying for a player. Back-to-back 130s. Played Richmond on the weekend, but 130 the week before against the Cats as well in a slog up there. So Chief, don't like it?
Not for me. Not for me. You know, if you started him, congrats, perfect. I feel like there's other players I'm interested. I don't think he's a top 8 mid 500K. I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it. I know what you're saying.
He could go close top 8.
I know where you're going. He's going to go up in price, but their midfield's too stacked for him to get consistent scoring unless you're playing Richmond every week to get 130 every week. And Geelong's not the hardest midfield to score against. I wouldn't have thought their midfield's not that good.
Come on, fam. You're better than this.
We'll see. I respect it, and we'll see at the end of the year. I mean, Zorko, by the way, you know, as we said, we had a victory lap on the big Dorco this week. The old sub-ton.
Number 4, Clay Hall, I think, given he has to be in here, the lowest break even of the bubble boys. I know Dossie said not keen, but if we do hear something, if he does stay in, that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if he's in, I think, and especially I think the move for Reid, if he's going to stay half back while he builds his fitness, his confidence, whatever that is, there's a spot open in the midfield. So for sure, he could be a great rookie option. Yeah,
tight here for 5 and 6. I've got Isaiah Dudley at number 5. If you are downgrading or need to fix up, go from Elijah Hewitt or make some money somewhere. That's top 5. Next 3 honourable mentions, if you're considering different things. Lockie Whitfield, like 5 names said, if you are got some cash in the bank and you want to start upgrading on an absolute heater dating back to last year, still pretty well priced, really, considering the numbers he's put up.
Also, just on him, playing St Kilda, I know they're a lot different than the team we thought they'd be with forwards. Yep. Playing at Norwood Oval, and there's been some very good scores there so far for defenders.
Toby Travali in there as well. What happens with that side, but again, not the highest priority in terms of rookie. Sam Darcy as well, if you want a point of difference in the forward line. Yeah. Break even at 3 straight tons, break even at 36. He's going to skyrocket in price. You're not going to get him, similar boat to Will Ashcroft, you're not going to get him for this cheap again. And he's probably, is he closer to the top? I know we've got the DPPs potentially coming in. He's closer to the top 8 forwards than Will Ashcroft is.
Yeah. He's going to have, I feel like he hasn't even touched the surface of ceiling scores yet. I feel like he's going to have, imagine him versus some of these, West Coast. Hogan kick night, Darcy, who's going to stop him?
504K, so a similar price as well.
He might have the top score in Supercoach this year at some point.
Lions
There's 200s are begging for Sammy Darce.
Lions at North Oval, then the Saints, Giants, Power, Suns, Bombers. Then after the bye, you're looking at Richmond, North Melbourne.
Imagine if imagine if Tim English goes down at some point. Do you reckon in the ruck he'd just be even he would be wherever he plays. Obviously he's killing it as a forward.
He'd be a must-have
in the ruck. The guy could average 150. Just
so we wanted Tim English.
I like the Wemby, the Wembenyama comparison. If you follow NBA, genuinely not far off for what he can do.
Enough.
Is that the Targs?
You got top 5 there, and you got a few. So it's not as clear cut this week.
Yeah. No.
All right, it is time for the favourite segment of the show.
Oh, geez. Well,
unique names with 5 names.
I'm just going to say the last week, I need to find some form here. I'm going to address this off the bat. Salem wasn't the guy I thought he was. Bowie went okay, then 81 last week. Burgoyne still waiting progress. Happy with that. Caldwell was looking good. They got injured,
Yeah,
so I'm going to stick my neck out here.
sticking it out.
I'm going for one. Daniel Rioli,
He was good on the weekend.
162, I believe.
Yeah, it was a big 160.
Big one.
Yeah.
He's been building. I think he had interrupted pre-season. The stores before this hadn't been close to that, but I think now he's starting to hit his form. Yes, he's going to share the kind of the halfback thing with Johnny Noble, but I think there's a reason why Dimmer wanted him there.
Yeah, and the fact that Ballard went down reduces, like Mac Andrew was also going to be helping distribute. There's a few others. Like it feels like everyone's just locking down, aside from, like you said, Noble a little bit as well. He gets a few touches, but Rioli, it's just basically like get the ball to Rioli.
And we've seen what Rioli can do off halfback when he played for Richmond. Gold Coast are a very good team. You'd want to be a defender there. You can cause some real damage as an attacking defender.
Vance, it's time.
I'm kind of worried. It's not like it actually has become him just having beef with people.
Now,
Actually, I'm next to him. I might get.
I do have some beef
You can
as
be
well.
scared walking the streets of Adelaide this week when everyone's coming over here.
I've got some beef with some rivals too.
Oh
But you told me I can't say it. So,
no! I said you could say it, but I was going to have to distance myself from him.
well, I won't
and
say it.
Dossie was going to join him.
Yeah, I was taking the.
We don't have a walk yet.
I won't say it. So I'll pick on one of our own. First though, Jack Higgins for his comments about Adelaide. Just don't have much time for him. So he's on the pen. He's out. I've already cooked him up, thrown him in the green organic bin. But Dan Batten is in the pan this week.
Dan?
Yeah, no,
Now-
he deserves, I don't know what he's done, but he deserves it.
Dan,
somehow.
he's going well in Supercoach, having a good year. And off the field too, reported down the Geelong Addy. How about this though? Now, traded Sam De Koning out before the round.
Yeah.
Then, after the game, this is what he wrote about the Cats. A Geelong late change and a subsequent injury may be a blessing in disguise for the Cats as a whipping boy helped play a talented tool into form. Basically wrote a whole piece about why Reece Stanley should stay in the side and why Sam De Koning should stay in defence. I couldn't believe it.
No, that's not on.
He's
ain't on.
trying to convince Chris Scott, okay, Chris, I traded Sam De Koning out, so just keep him in defence because I don't want to regret
I
it.
actually rate that because I traded him as well. So good work, Dan.
Yes, we all traded it.
Plant the seed.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
No shame. Absolutely no shame. Fresh off a 2-year deal earlier this week, De Koning showed signs of that glittering season, reading the play nicely in defence, taking his mark, using the ball with polish, where he's so dominant in the Cats' 2020 premiership year.
I respect that.
No.
That's good work from Dan.
I
So
love
if
that.
Stanley stays in the
That's
side,
It's all Dan Batten's fault, you know.
is.
Yeah, Chris Scott is really going to listen to Dan Batten. Absolutely.
So Batten's in the pan this week. As much as we do, like, he is a friend of the show. He's not like Bear, former friend of the show.
Yeah.
Still a friend of the show, but on notice.
Tell you what, you're just going people, aren't you? Like, you know.
Do I have time for the other one?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wait.
The pan. The
Just
the
a
pan
few
is-
people out there would just want to be careful.
He's been unmasked. He's just got like grudges and scores to settle.
I hope all the grudges don't land on us too, though. We are separate from
Yeah,
this pan.
yes.
The pan is
No, we're
the
one team.
Phantom's
One
fry
team.
pan. Phantom's fry pan.
Yeah, it's not 5 names for a pan or, you know, or
We're
Dossie.
one team.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. That's pretty much what we're talking about on the Lair
Oh,
this
hang on.
week.
Oh,
he's got something else.
punishment? Bottom of the pod?
Oh, yeah.
Send them through.
Can I just suggest
What have
one?
you got one, do for you?
Yeah, there's a gather round theme one.
No.
Our man, the chief, has to go and get a photo with the real chief, Jason Dunstall.
Oh, speaking of who could have made it in the pan, by the way, anyone that accidentally kept watching Bounce after the footy this weekend would have seen a little bit of a pickle juice gag.
Ooh.
something that may or may not have been stolen directly from the show.
Maybe you could.
Clearly, the producers watch are big fans of the Lair.
Maybe you should talk to the chief about it when you get your photo with him as punishment. And bonus points if you get one with Jake Light as well. Like almost imagine getting all three of the Chiefs together.
Well, if you guys can organise it, I'm happy to do it.
I have to do Jake Light.
I like it. I said should do pie floater challenge as well. 6 pie floaters in 20 minutes.
I'd rather see him do ask the chief for a selfie.
We'll do something later in the week as well, maybe out and about. If you do have any suggestions, of course, leave them in the comments on Code Sports YouTube or at the Phantom SC on X. Let us know because we want HK Bop, which we're now calling him. Not HK Dos, HK Bop, HK Bottom of the pod. To do something again because the hot sauce now just passed that a bit too easy, I think.
Yeah.
Robbed. Right in front of me. Right in front of me.
All right. Well, I think we can finish there. Remember to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to the show. Leave a comment on YouTube. We do love checking those out. And more Lair coming this week.
Big week.
Keep an eye out on the channel. Subscribe on Code Sports. Subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. And we'll hopefully see you on the streets of Adelaide.
Come and say hello.